you people? We're Americans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gore Goblins. I'm John.
And I'm Justin.
And I've messed it up again. The second week in a row I fucked it up. But you know what? That's fine, because this is a show where we talk about movies that we love.
Some we don't.
And some that we've never heard
seen.
of or haven't seen. Yeah, you know what? It's just it's an off day. Let me tell you. I've been feeling goofy.
Maybe we're our doppelgangers.
Hook, you know. Yeah, that's, hey, don't give it away like the trailer did. So today we watched Us 2019 by Jordan Peele. And we'll start with you, Justin, like we always do, because I've already seen it. What did you think of Us?
Well, good premise. Not the greatest execution. I mean, I did enjoy parts of the movie, but most of it I was like, can we get on with it? Like, I get it's a slow burn movie, but some of the one specific character just made it really unbearable at times.
Oh, the dad? Was
yes.
it the dad? It was the goofball dad. I love him. I love him so much. He's such a
I just felt
idiot.
like I was watching one of their skits. And I was like, God, make it end. Because I'm sorry, I don't think Key and Peele are funny.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's just me.
Comedy's subjective.
Don't hate me.
Yeah, I remember me and Josh would be watching it at work laughing, and you'd just kind of be in the corner shaking your head. And I'd be like, "What is it, Justin? Huh? Well, you don't like funny stuff, huh? Nah, that's fair." Anyway, continue. I'm
first
sorry.
one of them ruins my Predator movies. Now the other one's got.
Well, I don't think he was the reason. That was
Shane Black's fault.
He was debatably the most insufferable character.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Because Shane Black was like, "Oh, you're funny, so I'm gonna write all this unfunny dialogue and hope that you could carry it." And boy, did he not! Like he tried, but you know. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Then again, that movie went through so many fucking rewrites before it came out. Who knows what the original idea was?
I gotta read you in our sidetrack segment. I gotta read you the original pitch for the third movie, or it might have been the fourth movie. But either way, just continue what you were saying before I cut you off. I'm sorry while I find this.
So yeah, the insufferable character, but I mean the whole premise of the movie, I did like the idea that there's some underground society of like doppelgangers that were tried to use for some other purpose that we'll explain later on when we get to more details of the plot of the movie.
Full spoilers, by the way.
Yes, of course, full spoilers, because goblins don't give a fuck.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyways, would I watch it again? Maybe not.
Maybe not, huh?
I don't know. I just like how one of the taglines on the poster that I saw was like watchable over and over again. I'm like, is it though?
Yeah,
but I feel that way about a lot of movies with twist endings. The only movie that I watched repeatedly with a twist ending that I'm going to mention again from last time that I already said, The Others.
Yeah, for me it's probably The Prestige, but The Others holds up pretty much every time I've watched it. So I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Oh my god, what the fuck is this stupid post? I need to find it. But yeah, no, the way you feel about it is pretty consistent with the reception that I saw of it when it came out. So I watched this movie. Last time I saw this movie was in theaters. 2019 is when I saw it, pre-COVID, you know, better days. And
I've seen better days.
Exactly. And I remember I hadn't seen Get Out yet. And we went to go see this, and I liked it a lot when I saw it the first time, because, you know, it felt like an episode of The Twilight Zone to me, and I love me some Twilight Zone stuff, even the goofy episodes that aren't as good as the rest of it. But, you know, I enjoyed it a lot, and I feel like I enjoyed it because I didn't see Get Out first. Because a lot of people compared it to Get Out, obviously, because, you know, Jordan Peele's second movie, and Get Out was this big thing. It won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. You know, it was a big thing. It was a big deal. Daniel Kaluuya got that nomination, or did he win? I don't remember, but it was a big deal. It was a big deal when it came out, especially since Jordan Peele was known for comedy at the time. So naturally, you're going to compare it to that. I didn't have that to compare it to. I saw Get Out after the fact, and I don't know. Rewatching Us, I feel like, having seen all three of his movies now, I feel like I don't like it as much as I did the first time that I saw it, but I still enjoyed it. Again, like a Twilight Zone episode, it's a little bit of a weaker Twilight Zone episode to me. If we're gonna say all three of his movies are Twilight Zone episodes, it's a bit of a weaker one for me. But I think it's still fun. There's some really good shots in this movie. There's some really good moments. I like the dad character because I like goofball, stupid ass dads like Phil Dunphy in Modern Family. So like that, and I like the premise a lot. And I think it's all right. But obviously, I'll elaborate more as we're talking about the story, and when I go into the production of it and all that fun stuff. But first, it's a certified sidetrack segment.
Yeah,
where I get to talk about Robert Rodriguez's script for Predator 3 and how crazy it is. I found this on Twitter.
Predator 3. You mean Predators?
Yeah, before Predators. So, because Robert Rodriguez produced Predators, but he didn't direct it, or did he write it too? I don't remember. Did he write Predators? I thought he just produced it.
I don't remember.
I think he just produced it, but correct me if I'm wrong, I guess. I don't know. But his original idea for Predator 3 was written in the mid-90s, and I'm going to read this. I'm assuming this is an article from an interview that he did. But this is how it goes. The result was a script so bold, rumor has it studio bosses estimated it would have taken as much as $150 million to make. Rodriguez's original take on the sequel opened aboard a Spanish galleon and its crew finding themselves suddenly under siege from an invisible enemy. Just when it seems they are about to be overrun, a pirate leader comes to the fore, dispatching the invisible intruders in typically brutal fashion. It's Dutch. It's not entirely clear how the ship got here, or whether it's a relic of time or just some steampunk-style creation, but Dutch is back. The story would then be flipped on its head with the revelation that their invisible attackers are in fact humans tasked with returning Dutch to his bosses in the military to stand trial for insubordination. After his capture, Dutch and a ragtag group of fellow criminals would then be sentenced to spend time on a mysterious planet called Arcus 6. Through a series of twists and turns, the group would eventually discover they were the bargaining chip in a trade between humans and predators, with the former eager to utilize the latter's technology and willing to trade human lives for it. Dutch and his fellow captives, it would emerge, were to be used to help train up young predators by competing in a series of gladiatorial-like fights involving other alien species. The film would climax with Dutch leading an escape before teaming up with a rogue predator to fight the king predator. Featuring a rogues gallery of cyborgs and human predator hybrids, Rodriguez would later acknowledge his script was a little ahead of its time.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like half those ideas went into AVP and half of them went into the game Concrete Jungle.
Honestly, right? That's something, man. I would have liked to have seen it just because of how fucking absurd it sounds.
It's like Terminator meets Predator meets fucking, I don't know what that jail movie is. There's some movie about a Supermax jail. I mean, there's probably like 3 of them.
There's a few movies about Supermax jails, but yeah, I don't know. Like, part of me wants to see it, but I don't know if Arnold Schwarzenegger would have signed on for that.
Probably not.
I don't know if he would have read that script and been like, this is great, and then he would have done it. I don't think that would have happened.
I mean, the man was Mr. Freeze.
Well, but that was, money. I think Joel Schumacher threw like fucking $10 million at him, and he was like, all right, and then he did it, I'm sorry for the terrible impression, but but yeah, so that's I guess the original idea for Predator 3, and I mean, I'm pretty happy with what we got. So I mean, I'm not
Predators
gonna,
was fine.
I'm not gonna get upset about what could have been in this case. But anyway,
I still think
what were you gonna say?
I like it more than Prey.
Oh, Predators more than Prey? That's fair. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. I like Prey a lot. My only in thinking back on it, my only real gripe is just how much it takes me out of it. With them not speaking actual Comanche, which is what was originally going to be. It was going to be all Comanche with English subtitles. You know,
You can watch it that way. Though.
I know you can, but like it was going to be filmed that way as opposed to dubbed over.
Yeah.
But then when Disney bought 20th Century Fox, they were like, nope, haha, and then and then that was it. So they because they wanted it to appeal to a wider audience or whatever, because Americans are fucking stupid and hate reading when they're watching movies. No offense. Actually, fuck that. Full offense. I'm sorry.
Tell that to the people who bitch about dubs in anime.
Well, yeah, it's two sides of the same coin, but you know.
Anyways.
Anyway, that's the end of our certified sidetrack segment.
Woo.
Now
Back to us.
back to us,
Not the Goblins, the movie.
the movie. Yes. So yeah. So this like I said, came out after.
After
and-
what?
After Get Out. I'm sorry. And so, you know, Jordan Peele was talking about in an interview that I saw today, actually. He was talking about how, like, there was a lot of pressure on him because, you know, all these eyes are on him after Get Out. And he was like, okay, well, what do I do now? Because according to him, making horror movies is therapeutic to him. And he was trying to figure out what scares him. Like that's how he makes his movies, is he tries to figure out a premise based on what would scare him. And he found that what scared him was himself, and he decided to expand on that to make the movie. You know, Lupita Nyong'o is in this, and she acts her fucking ass off because her and the main cast, well, her and a lot of the cast play dual roles, and the way they filmed it is pretty cool. They would do like I think they said they would do one day of shooting one half of the scene and then the other day of shooting the other half of the scene, and then of course you had body doubles and stuff that they would superimpose the actors' faces on for certain shots, because certain shots would be impossible otherwise. And you know, they talked about how they made the tethered like look like dirtier, grimier versions of their above ground counterparts, because you know they've been underground their whole life. Their hair isn't healthy. They're pale. All that fun stuff. It's really cool. Really cool. All the thought that went into this.
They ate nothing but rabbits.
They
Raw.
ate nothing but raw rabbits, which reminds me of a story that my mother told me about how she had a pet rabbit. Well, she had a pet rabbit because my grandfather used to raise rabbits to eat them, to cook them and eat them. And Mom didn't know that. And so she does not. She feels bad for a rabbit every time she sees it. And she'll never eat rabbit again because my grandpa used to raise them just to eat them.
It was like my mom. She had a little chicken that she
Oh,
raised,
no.
and her mom cooked it, but she didn't eat it.
Yeah, I don't like that. Also, Winston Duke is also in this movie. He's the goofball dad. And it's funny, when Jordan Peele was talking about casting, he was like, I know Winston Duke thinks he's not that kind of guy, but he totally is that kind of guy. He's like, that's why I cast him. Because, you know, he's like, Winston Duke thinks he's like this big tough guy, but he's really not. He's more of a goofball. And then Elizabeth Moss is in this too, and Tim Heidecker. Elizabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker are both in this as a separate family in the movie for a little bit. And they're both self-absorbed pieces of shit, perfect for each other, in all honesty, which is probably the point if we're being honest. That's the cast. And I forgot most of the research I did on this movie because, like I said, it's an off day. But it'll come to me probably as we're talking about the story, like it usually does. But the movie was, before we get into the story, the movie was a success at the box office, probably because it was riding off the coattails of, you know, Get Out. But as I mentioned before, the reception wasn't as grand as it was for Get Out. And a lot of what Justin said, as I mentioned before, is consistent with the reviews I've seen on Letterboxd and IMDb and shit. Where again, I just think people hyped it up too much for themselves personally. That's what I think it is, because they expected. I guess they just expected more, and that's fine. But I still find it's really hard for me to like think a movie's bad. A movie has to be like fucking the most boring thing I've ever seen for me to think it's bad. I don't think, like, most movies I'll watch, even if they're like critically panned, as long as it's entertaining, I'll take away something from it,
Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, like Ice Cream Man. Best part of that one was Clint Howard, and that was about it, honestly. But also, it's kind of a goofball movie, fun time. You know how it is.
Like Critters.
Yeah, just like Critters. But anyway, that's what I remember right now about the production stuff. I'm sure the rest will come back to me, hopefully. So let's get into the story.
Whoa.
About what this movie's all about. It's about us. It's about them, and it's about Puppet Pal Clem and Puppet Pal Mitch.
Puppet Pal Mitch.
It's not. I wish it was. That'd be something, but it's not.
We
So
don't
anyway,
get a bonk on the head.
so
God, I hope somebody gets that reference.
Somebody will. Kale will. He he might. I don't know. Actually, he might not. But anyway, so the movie starts out with a Universal logo. That's how most movies start out these days. And
me being me, every time I see a Universal logo, I think, cool, Jurassic Park. No.
Yeah, Justin really likes his Jurassic Park. Oh, little dinosaur buddy over there. But that's besides the point. It really starts with it's this family in 1986 at Santa Cruz Beach. They're having a good time. They're hanging out. Yahya Abdul Mateen
Having a good time.
the second plays the father in the family. I like Yahya Abdul Mateen a lot. He's great in Watchmen. I liked him in Candyman. So I like him as an actor quite a bit. Justin doesn't like Candyman because Justin hates movies. Anyway.
I didn't like the remake.
Well, it wasn't a remake.
Whatever the
It was a
fuck
requel. It was a requel.
I didn't like it. That's the point.
Did you watch it, or did you just watch the Kill?
I just watched the Kill.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. That's not fair. When we cover it, I'm going to yell at you. Because we're going to have to do Candyman 2 and 3. Those are not good. Anyway.
Dude, you forget that we're also going to have to watch Hellraiser 8, 9, and 10.
Anyway, I'm going to ignore that, pretend that we don't have to do that for a little bit. Yeah, it starts out with this family. They're having a good time down at the Santa Cruz Beach Pier. There's a little reference to Lost Boys in there, which is why Jordan Peele filmed it in Santa Cruz Beach, because he kind of wanted to make an homage to Lost Boys. There's a few. I don't want to say there's a bunch of homages to other horror movies, but there's a few homages to other horror movies. In this one of them being the Lost Boys
The
connection.
jumpsuits kept making me think Halloween.
A little bit. I don't know if I would.
I know it's kind of a stretch to say that.
It's a little bit of a
It just
stretch.
kept coming to my mind every time.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Actually, I take that back. The movie starts with an ad because it starts with that shot of the TV. That's right.
Yeah.
It starts with that shot at the TV, and it's a commercial for this movement that happened in the 80s called Hands Across America. This is a real thing that happened that I did not know about when I watched this movie the first time. It was supposed to be like to some kind of like fucking symbolic gesture to end world hunger, which again kind of plays into the themes that Jordan Peele usually steeps his movies in, which is symbolic gestures don't really do anything. You need to do something.
And don't worry, we're not gonna get politicals or nothing with this shit.
Yeah, no, just what the movie's trying to say. You know what I mean?
Anything we say that comes off political, just no, it's a fucking joke. We're not taking any serious stands on any shit right now or
No,
ever
no.
because we
This
don't
is
want that kind of attention.
This is a goofy movie podcast. if I wanted to.
Hey, let's review the Goofy movie. No,
We could. That's a good April Fool's thing. You're tuning into the Goofy Movie podcast, and then it's just us doing a terrible Goofy impression the whole time. Yeah, just like that, just like that. And but anyway, yeah. So Jordan Peele likes his little social commentary because Get Out was satire on racism in America. And this is, it has shade to that. I don't think it's as overtly political, but, some people.
No, I kind of like what you said better about the whole class system thing, not necessarily race.
Yeah, but that's what it's about.
Oh, I know,
that's what he
but
said, yeah.
I feel like the class thing fits more.
Oh, yeah. For this movie, yes.
Because it's us, not
Yeah.
just
and
one
it's,
group.
And it's us and them and all that shit. Yeah, that was the whole idea. And he was but yeah, the symbolic gestures don't really do anything. All that fun stuff. And that's how the movie starts. And it's an ad for the Santa Cruz beach. And then that's when we go to Santa Cruz Beach.
Yeah, but first you get that cool little shot when the commercial ends and the TV's black. You just see what's her name, Adelaide.
Adelaide,
And she's just sitting on the couch, and you see her reflection has that creepy ass smile.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even notice that. Huh? I thought she was just like doing her homework or whatever.
No.
Oh well.
Then we go to
look at me missing that.
The pier dock or whatever the fuck you call it.
The Santa Cruz pier, yeah. And they're hanging out.
Dad's throwing baseballs, trying to win Adelaide a prize.
And he gets her a T-shirt of Michael Jackson's Thriller. And then she puts it on, and she's all happy. Actually, she looks kind of not happy the whole time, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. And her mom's like, that shirt better not give her nightmares.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because she picked it out. But like also it's a Michael Jackson's Thriller shirt. I don't know if that's going to give her any nightmares, but you know what? That's fine. I don't know. Parents are weird sometimes. But then, they go down, and then the dad starts playing whack-a-mole. And you also get a bunch of shots of the surroundings, of the little, like, I guess it's a fair that they're at, or the pier. I guess it's just a pier. Because whenever I see a place like that, I just think of like a fair, like a fairgrounds type shit. But I think it's just a general
like
pier.
Kima Boardwalk.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
your
It's
best
like
example.
That. It's like that. So, and you get all these very specific shots of what everything looks like, and that's gonna come back later. But Yaya is out here playing whack-a-mole, and then Adelaide's mother goes to the bathroom, and she urges her husband to watch Adelaide, and he's like, I'm watching, and he's not.
He's not.
He's not a great dad from what I can, from the little
He's
bit
busy
we've seen.
whacking off.
He's busy whacking moles, baby. That's what I'm talking about. And then Adelaide wanders off with her candy apple, and then she goes down off the pier to the beach, and then she sees a House of Mirrors attraction. I think it's called like Shaman's House of Mirrors or some shit. And then it like has a big sign that says "Find Yourself," pointing to the inside. And I think that's a neat little foreshadowing there. And then like her name is Tuna, she drops the candy apple onto the sand. Doesn't eat it though, because she's not a shitty fat kid. So she walks into the Hall of Mirrors. And she starts creeping herself out. There's this fucking animatronic owl that pops out. And it's like, ooga booga, stupid dog, you made me look bad.
Sorry.
And then she keeps walking. And eventually she comes to this entrance, or like this doorway, I guess. And there's another her that's just kind of standing there with her back turned to her. And Adelaide turns around and sees this. And then she gasps, and then it cuts to a shot of a rabbit in a cage as we get the opening credits.
Despite all his rage, he's still just a rabbit in a cage.
Exactly.
Boom.
And then the camera starts zooming out slowly.
We get some music.
Some nice music. I like the music a lot. It was composed by
Yeah, it was all right.
fucking, what was his name?
I just didn't feel like it fit sometimes.
Michael Abels. What did he fucking do? He did
He did the music for this movie.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he did the music for Get Out. That's right. Okay.
Get Out.
Yes. He did that. And he, I like the soundtrack in this movie a lot. It's a lot of vocalizations and some nice little drum percussion stuff going on. But the camera zooms out, and it looks like it's a classroom full of these rabbits in cages, just hanging out, living their best lives.
Are they though?
Nope, they're not, as we find out later. But then the movie cuts to present day, and Adelaide is all grown up. She's got a family that's got a one of those stick figure family stickers on the back of their car, because
It was a symbol of the holding hands. Holy shit!
Yeah,
I just thought about that.
yeah, it's all There's a lot of motifs in this movie for sure. There's the coincidences and all that shit. A lot of motifs, but yeah, there's that, and we have Goofy Dad Winston Duke. I think I don't remember his name is Gabe. And then we have the two daughters. We have a daughter and a son. The son's name is Jason, a very obvious nod towards Jason Voorhees. And then the girl, I cannot remember, and it's going to bug me a little bit.
Just look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now. Don't you worry.
About a thing.
Sure, that. I
don't know.
You got to stop singing stuff, man. We're going to get like a
I'm just
copyright
using
strike.
slightly a little bit of it.
Yeah. Her name's Zora, by the way.
Zora. It's like Zordon.
Like the Legend of... Well, okay, two different things. Zordon or the Legend of Zelda. Either one works, I guess.
Power Rangers is better than Zelda.
Look, man, I'm not here to argue about the validity of that statement. But I will continue talking about the movie, which is they're going to this summer house that they have. So they're a pretty well-off family.
Summer
Good for them.
breeze makes them feel fine.
Yes, and they go to this summer house, and they're hanging out, they're having a good time. Adelaide seems a little uneasy for whatever reason, and Gabe is being a goofball. He dabs at one point. Justin almost killed himself after he saw that because he hates that, and so the family's just settling in. They're all eating fast food, and Adelaide's eating strawberries.
Very fucking annoyingly slowly, I might add.
Do you have a problem with how she ate her,
Yes.
she ate her strawberries? Why?
Fucking put the thing in your mouth and be done. Don't sit there
she was like
chewing on it
She
and
was
like
taking little bites, huh? Yeah.
What are you, a rabbit? Oh.
Yeah, see, there you go. Look at that. It's foreshadowing, dude. When you watch it again, you realize why she's so weird. Why she's so weird in some scenes.
They ruined the twist a lot in this movie.
What do you mean they ruined it? They ruined it in the trailer.
Well, yeah, that. But I mean, like, once you start piecing shit together while watching it, you kind of figure it out way too quickly. At least I did.
Yeah. And that's cool. That's fine. It's always fun to figure out movies like that. It's a mystery. It's fun. But anyway, she's eating her strawberry. She's it's just the family getting along, kinda, and stuff. And then the husband, Gabe, I don't know why you keep saying the husband. Gabe wants to go to the beach.
The beach.
Adelaide
She's
is
like, what fucking beach?
Yeah, and Gabe's like, oh, Santa Cruz, And Adelaide's hesitant because she remembers, what happened.
No, I'm not going back there.
She's like, I don't want to go back there. And then, Gabe's just like, he like fucking pity parties her.
No, Jason's been so sad since Grandma died, and this would make him really happy.
He was real excited to go to the beach. And I think the reason he wants to go to the beach is so he can hang out with Tim Heidecker, whose name is, it's Josh. What a name, huh? Josh. What a name. And much like a Josh that I know in real life, he's got tattoos on his arms, and he's kind of self-absorbed. And he kind of tries to flaunt what he has. But, we still love him because he's a fun guy to be around. So that's how Gabe feels. I should stress that. But also, so then, they decide to go to the beach, and, they get to the beach, they're hanging out. Adelaide is conversing with Kitty, Josh's wife, who's played by Elizabeth Moss. And she's also very self-absorbed, very vain.
You're so vain.
She
Probably
alludes
think
to the
this
fact.
song is about you. Okay, sorry.
Stop it. There's an allusion to her getting plastic surgery, and they're talking about dancing or whatever.
I like that part where they're talking about the plastic surgery, and Adelaide's like, "Well, you look exactly the same as you did last time."
And she's like, oh, thank you. Well, that's the point, trying not to age. but it's more of like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah,
where it's like, bitch, it didn't help.
Yeah,
like, what did you
That's why
what
it's
did you
fun-
do?
It's funny to me.
Yeah, I like that. I like that bit a lot too. So there's some deleted scenes from this whole section at the beach. Mainly a bunch of outtakes of Tim Heidecker and Winston Duke just improving while they're supposed to be talking. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. I can't remember any specifics, but it did make me laugh quite a bit because Tim Heidecker is a pretty funny guy. And then you have and then there was another scene with Adelaide and Kitty where Adelaide, I think, is talking about how much she loves her kids or whatever. And then Kitty's like, yeah, my daughter's being born doesn't even crack like my top 5 life moments. She's like, I could have been an actress. She's like, if my kids hadn't came at the time they did, So she's a very bad person. We can get that from the go. They have 2 daughters, Josh and Kitty, 2 twin daughters. And they're hanging out at the beach, telling Zora that her brother's weird because Jason, I should mention, has a Chewbacca mask on him at all times. This boy loves his Chewbacca. He loves that Chewbacca mask, let me tell you. And, while this is all going on, while they're all talking, while they're all chatting, little Jason decides to go to the bathroom. He uses a porta potty, disgusting. And then he steps out and he sees this homeless looking dude, standing in the middle of the beach with his hands, out on each of his sides.
He's T-posing like a glitched NPC.
It's it's like a halfway between a T-pose and an A-pose, I feel. And he's just kind of vibing. He's just sitting there looking up. And this guy, I should mention, looks a lot like another guy that had a sign that said Jeremiah 11:11 on it, which is another motif, because then there's the clock that says 11:11 on it, and I don't remember what that passage actually says, but I am going to look it up because I looked it up earlier, and I don't remember what it said. So there's a lot of different translations of this because you know how the Bible is. There's like fucking a million versions of it. But I'm just going to read the New International Version. Therefore, this is what the Lord says. I will bring on them a disaster they cannot escape. Although they cry out to me, I will not listen to them. So, apocalyptic shit, right? Foreshadowing here. And we see the guy holding the Jeremiah 11 sign who Adelaide had seen in the 80s when she was a child. We see him being taken away in an ambulance when they get to the beach in the present day, and he's still holding that Jeremiah 11:11 sign, and this guy looks a lot like him, because he's his doppelganger. That's the thing. That's the message, right? It's coming, right? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just kind of rambling right now, but that's besides the point, because then Adelaide starts worrying, and like she's a main character in Heavy Rain, she starts screaming for Jason. And she finds him, and she runs over to him, and she makes sure he's okay. And he's like, "Yeah, Mom, I'm good," and all this shit. You know how it is, kids, right? I hate kids. Anyway, so that all happens, and then also in this sequence, we get another one of those coincidences that Adelaide keeps experiencing, which is somebody throws a frisbee and it lands on a beach towel in front of them, and it lands perfectly on top of a circle of like one of the circles in the pattern on the beach towel. And the frisbee's red, which I think is also another little visual clue, little visual foreshadowing clue.
Yeah.
Which is, again, this movie's like chock full of shit like that. But anyway, after the beach, they go back to the house. It's nighttime at this point. And Adelaide's a little shaken up, and Gabe is lamenting that Josh was talking about like this new car that he got, or no, that they got a new car, and Gabe is like, "Oh, I know he got it just to fuck with me, like Like that's just what rich people problems, right? So they're talking about. So he's lamenting about that while Adelaide goes to say goodbye to the kids.
Good
Or
night.
goodbye, because she's gonna fucking kill them. No, she says goodnight to the kids, and Gabe's like, yeah, I'm just gonna finish watching the Giants game, and then after this,
The highlights.
the highlights. You're right, man. Look at me. See, this is why you're here, for no other reason than to just correct me.
And to make
no.
stupid jokes.
Yeah, that's what we like, baby. But no, and then Adelaide goes down to the basement of the summer house, and she sees, I guess she hallucinates herself as a child practicing ballet, which is going to come into play later a little bit, and then she goes back upstairs, and she goes back upstairs because Zora and Jason are playing pranks on each other. Jason scares Zora, and then Jason goes to hide in the closet, and he puts like a little toy ambulance in the doorway to stop it from closing all the way because it locks from the inside.
That happened way before.
It probably did. You know what?
did.
It probably did. I'm getting my parts mixed up. But, needless to say, this all happens. I just mainly wanted to talk about it because of the ballet connection. But yeah, they're playing pranks on each other, and Zora locks Jason in a closet, and then Adelaide comes and gets him and all that shit. But
That's
anyway,
why
she says,
you don't play in there.
yeah, she says goodnight, all that fun stuff. And then Gabe and Adelaide are in their bedroom, and Gabe thinks he's going to get some, and he's like the size of the bed, which is insane. That's a big man. That is a big man. And Adelaide's like very clearly shaken up, and so she tells Gabe about what happened when she went to the House of Mirrors, and Gabe's initially hesitant to like believe her. Classic horror movie shit, where it's like, I'm telling you that this is real, and then they're like, whoa, sure, yeah, haha, yeah, totally, right?
If there's another you, then I'm sure I can beat you up, so I'm sure I can take her.
Yeah, and Adelaide just fucking stares at him, and he's like, okay, bad joke,
You made a joke about beating your wife.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's fine, dude. Who doesn't beat their wife? I'm sorry. That was too far. Maybe it was too far. Who knows? Who knows these days? But anyway, so there's that, and then the power goes out for some reason. I don't know if somebody cut the power off or the power's just going out everywhere because, I'm assuming it's part of the plan that we're about to get into here. But Jason shows up in the doorway of the bedroom and scares Gabe and Adelaide, much like I used to scare my mother when I was a child. Because when I was a little baby, all right, I was like 2, not even 2. I was like 1. I was young. I was a little baby boy. I figured out how the crib worked, like how my mom would lock me in the crib. I figured out how to, get out myself. So I would, and then I'd walk over to her door, and I'd just stand in the doorway like fucking Chucky, just standing up, watching my mom, and then eventually she would wake up and be like, what the fuck? And then she'd be like, and then she said that I would be like, can I sleep with you, mommy? And then she would be like, yeah, whatever, come on. So then I'd go on the bed and sleep with mom because I didn't want to sleep alone. Because fuck that. If I could get out of the crib, I was going to, and apparently I could. So, that's, Jason does that. And he's like, there's a family standing outside, right? Now, they look outside, and there is a family, 4 people, standing outside, holding hands, just waiting.
Yep.
And Gabe is like, well, I'm gonna go talk to them. And he's like, hey, get out, go away. I don't really care, fuck off, whatever, get off my property, right? And Adelaide calls the police, but they're like, hey, yeah, it's going to be a while because we got a lot of calls or whatever.
Minutes.
14 minutes, baby. And then, so then Gabe comes back in, and he's like, give me the bat. So then Zora gets him a bat. He walks outside, and he tries to act a little tougher this time. He tries to make his voice deeper. It's pretty funny for me. And then the mother of this group, whose name is Red, makes like this clicking noise, and then the two kids scurry away, and then the dad starts walking towards Gabe, and so Gabe gets freaked out. He runs back inside, and this fucking big ass dude is banging on the door, just hitting it, going crazy. You know, like he's Michael Myers and Rob Zombie's Halloween, just really trying to break that door down. And I'm pretty sure eventually he does. And we get some cool shots of like them entering the house and stuff. And they eventually corner the family and get them all to sit down. And then they're all sitting across from each other. And they come to realize that it's them. Like it's all them. I think Jason says, "It's us," you know? And that's the movie title, baby. That's the movie. Movie's over. Roll credits.
Boom.
We're done. Thanks for listening. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what happens. And then Red starts talking. And she gives the backstory of who they are, basically. And that she's the shadow of the little girl. And that you know, she married this man, or that the little girl married a man, and then the shadow married Abraham, which is Gabe's doppelganger, and then they gave birth to children. The daughter's name is Umbra. The son's name is Pluto.
Yeah.
And you know, she's explaining all this in a very hoarse, raspy voice, which makes it a lot creepier for me. Also, her mannerisms are very disturbing.
And her talking is also a very obvious giveaway if you know the twist already.
If you watch the trailer, yes, because in the trailer it gave it away. But because that's what happened to Kale. Kale got spoiled by the trailer because can't have a trailer without it spoiling something in the movie these days. But she's talking and she's telling her story, and Lupita Nyong'o said that during production, Jordan Peele told her that he wanted Red's movements to be like a cockroach, and like I kind of get that vibe, the way she was like she had like these really quick movements, very precise movements, like almost like she's scurrying around, and then she would also stay in character between takes and everything, which would apparently creep the hell out of the crew. Because she would just be sitting there, and there's footage of her like between takes that's on the special features, and she's just like sitting there making like faces and like doing all these nervous ticks and shit. Very, very cool to see. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Lupita Nyong'o really does a fantastic job in this movie. It's one of my favorite things about it, actually, is her characterization of not only her doppelganger, but of Adelaide too. And very, very creepy initial home invasion scene where she's given off all this backstory and stuff. And then she basically makes it to where Abraham chases Gabe around. Or not chases Gabe around, but he drags Gabe away, presumably to kill him, but that's not what happens. And then Zora and Umbra have a little running match outside. Umbra runs away, and then Zora does a few stretches, and then takes off running with her creepy ass fucking
you mixed
face.
Up the names.
What's that?
You mixed up the names.
Oh, Zora takes off running, and then Umbra does her stretches, and she takes off running.
It's like, I'm gonna get this bitch.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, boy, does she haul some ass. And they mentioned earlier through some expository dialogue that Zora doesn't really want to do track and field anymore because she doesn't see what the point is, right? And there's this little moment where Adelaide's like, you can do anything you set your mind to. And then Zora's like, well, that means I can drive, right? And then she's like, no, you can't. She's like, well, that's what I set my mind to. It's always fun to do reverse psychology on your parents, isn't it? But anyway, Umbra's running after Zora. And then Pluto and Josh go into the closet. Jason, fuck. Listen, man, it's an off day. Pluto and Jason go into the closet, and Adelaide's like, tells Jason, show him one of your tricks, right? And one of my favorite shots in the movie, there's a couple of my favorite shots in this scene. There's one scene where Winston Duke is like, who are you people? And then Red is like, we're Americans. And I really like that line just because of how fucking ominous it feels when she says it. And then the other part I really like is when she's like, you boys go have fun, don't burn our house down. And she looks at Adelaide and just does like this fucking horrifying, like creepy face with a laugh. It's so like, I love that shot so much. Also while another thing I really like in this scene is when Red is telling the backstory, she starts like shedding tears. And I really like, oh my God, she's so good. The acting is so good. I love acting sometimes, I have to stress sometimes. But anyway, she handcuffs Adelaide to the table, and she's like, I call this the untethering because we're all tethered together, whatever. And then we get like different scenes of the family dealing with their doppelgangers. Gabe gets knocked out by Abraham. Umbra chases Zora down. They get in front of this house, and they're hanging out by a car. And at one point, Umbra gets on top of the car with her scissors, and then the owner of the car walks out, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck you doing, huh?
Get off my car.
What are you doing on my fucking car?" Like he's not that. He doesn't sound like that, but I just felt like doing that. I'm sorry. But he's like, hey, get the fuck down, like get off my fucking car.
And Umbra's like, fuck you, stab.
And stabs him in the leg, yeah, and Zora's just running for her life. And then Pluto and Jason are in the closet, and Jason keeps, or not Jason, Pluto keeps like fucking lighting matches and shit. And you see through this scene that Jason and Pluto are a little more linked up than the other doppelgangers, because Pluto has a habit of following Jason's movements a little more than the others. And so there's a part where he puts Jason's mask back on him, and then Jason takes his mask off, and then Pluto takes his mask off, and you see that he's severely burned. That's cool. He likes fire. He's like just like Beavis. And then what Jason ends up doing is he's got like this little ring lighter. Like this little ring lighter he's got on his finger, and he's able to make it spark, and that distracts Pluto enough for him to lock him in the closet. And then he runs down and gets his mom or whatever, because Red obviously goes up and checks on her son. And then they get out, but not before Gabe and Abraham have a fight on the boat, kinda. I think Gabe pushes Abraham off of the water with his baseball bat because he's like in a plastic bag, like in a trash bag, and he's able to get out. Yep. He bonks Gabe. Well, Gabe, because it's established earlier that the motor dies on this boat that Gabe bought. It's called the Crawdaddy. It's a shitty little boat that he got for cheap because he just wanted to have a boat. That was it.
Because Josh has a boat.
Yes, he just wanted a boat. He wants to be on that level, And so he knocks Abraham off. Abraham's,
his foot gets caught on the life preserver.
On the life preserver, yes.
Just like Leon fighting that big
Lago?
salamander. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a big salamander. Yeah. Del Lago. Yeah, I love Resident Evil 4. It's a good game.
Remake better be good.
Can't wait for the remake.
It better be good.
I can't wait. But yeah, so Abraham's underwater. They have a little bit of a tussle. Gabe is able to get back up on the boat, and Abraham is trying to get at him. And he's got they all have scissors, by the way. One leather glove, scissors, and a red jumpsuit. That's how all of them are dressed. And Abraham gets the scissors and he starts pushing Gabe's head towards it. And then Gabe is able to knock the motor and start it. And this tears poor Abraham apart, presumably. It kills him. There's a deleted scene where Red sees his body before running off kind of angry. But that was cut from the movie, even though it was an extra 30 seconds, but whatever. So he's able to do that, and he brings the boat around as the rest of the family unites. He starts honking the horn. They get on the boat and go away, and they head towards where Josh and Kitty are staying. And it cuts to Josh and Kitty at this point. And so when I first saw this movie, I did I didn't watch any of the trailers. I had just seen the poster, and I knew basically that it was going to be about doppelgangers, but I didn't think it was going to be at this scale. You know what I mean? I thought it was just going to be the one family.
Which I kind of feel takes away from the movie.
A little bit.
I didn't like the mass of doppelganger thing. I mean, I get it, but it kind of makes it a little less scary.
Yeah, because it's not just focusing on one family.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of, honestly? Well, I'll talk about that later. But like, I didn't expect this to happen. So you have, because what I was expecting was the doppelgangers of, you know, knowing that they're tethered, they're going to know where they're going. So I expected the doppelgangers of the Wilson family to go and kill Josh and Kitty and everything. So imagine my fucking shock when Josh and Kitty are arguing and Josh is like being a shithead, like, because Kitty swears she heard something outside, and Josh is like, oh my god, you see that? It's OJ Simpson. And then Kitty's like, fuck you, or whatever, and then the two twins come out, and they're, you know, being creepy twins, whatever. And imagine my surprise when I was watching the shit in the theater, and then their doppelgangers come out and kill all of them. I was so like, what the fuck? Like, I was so fucking flabbergasted because I did not expect it at all. The sisters get killed first, and then Josh gets stabbed by his doppelganger, Tex. It's a good name. I love it. He gets stabbed by Tex, and then Kitty gets stabbed by her doppelganger, Dahlia. And Kitty's still alive for a little bit, and this all happens. So Josh puts on a Beach Boys song through their smart speaker named Ophelia, which is some fucking Greek or German or some fucking Latin word for help. I don't remember what the language was. I just know that's what it means. So look at me. I'm a great researcher, right? So then, but when the violence actually happens, it cuts to the outside of the building, which I like a lot. I like that kind of shit. Rob Zombie did that in both of his Halloween movies, and I like it. I like stuff like that. It's a cool stylistic choice, and it's even better because there's a big glass window that we can see all the carnage through. But they all get killed. And Kitty's, you know, crawling away, and she says, like, please stop, and then Ophelia's like, stopping, or whatever. And then she's like, Ophelia, and she's like choking on blood. She's like, call the police. And then Ophelia's like, got it. Playing Fuck the Police by NWA, which is one of my favorite gags from the movie because smart speakers are dumb sometimes, and I love that. But also there's this part where Tex offers Kitty help, and then he just does that fucking thing where it's that trick that, like, I haven't seen it since like junior high.
Oh, too slow.
Yeah, too slow, that kind of shit where he's like doing his hair. But it's like, I just love that Tex is such a fucking piece of shit. Like, he's one of my favorite parts of the movie too, because he's just such like a shitty fucking like oh I'm gonna get you, but he's like, you know, talking like a forest man, as Justin described him. But they're they're making
that's
like
all the sounds they make.
They make all those noises because they don't have a language, because they're underground. They talked about this too in the special features about how, you know, they don't have a language, and that's another hint at, you know, Red's true origin, because she's the only one that can talk. So they're all ooh, my back's killing me. They're all what am I saying here? The Wilsons get to where Josh and Kitty were at, and Tex is wearing Josh's bathrobe now, and Kitty, or not Kitty, fucking Adelaide gets him in the head with a fire poker that she took from her house, and Tex is just like, oh well,
Big deal.
You tried, and he the sisters come and drag her away.
That was a cool shot though, like all the hands grabbing her through the door and pulling her in.
Yeah, it's a good shot. I like that shot a lot. And then Tex comes out and starts like fucking with Gabe, and they go to the boat. Or they eventually go to Gabe's, or not Gabe's boat,
Josh's boat,
which is called Biatch, with yacht spelled as part of it. So obviously Josh deserved to die, just because of that alone. And then they go in and they have a tussle in the boat, and Gabe gets the upper hand and survives. But while this is happening, Dahlia is upstairs with Adelaide, putting on.
Well, no, before that, the kids.
The kid was that before? Oh, that was before that.
Yeah.
The kids go up to they go upstairs while "Fuck the Police" is blaring through the speakers, and they see the two dead twins, which are in the same pose as the dead twins from The Shining, which I think is a neat little homage to that, because I love The Shining. So that's a nice little. That's two movies we've done back to back that have homages to The Shining. High Tension had it with the axe kill, and then this has it with the fucking dead sisters. Anyway, the kids fight off these sisters.
More like Zora just fucking beats
Zora
the shit out of them.
Zora hits one over the head because she has a golf club on her. She hits one off the balcony, not off the second floor, and onto like a glass table on the first floor. And then the other one, she just beats the fucking shit out of, like a lot. She really fucking kills her. And then we cut to Adelaide, and she's vibing. She's putting on some lip gloss. She's living her best life, in all honesty.
Being Dahlia.
Yeah, being Dahlia. And is that what I said?
You said Adelaide was
Listen,
putting on
man,
the makeup.
it's an
Dahlia's
off day.
putting on the makeup while Adelaide's handcuffed to
go.
the bed.
She's handcuffed to the
She's
bed.
being all like, "Oh, look at me, be pretty," and all this. And then she's smiling for a bit, and then just frowns.
Yeah.
Like goes over to Adelaide, does something, messes with her, and then goes back to sit in front of the mirror, and then just cuts her face with the scissors she has.
Yeah, she's doing plastic surgery.
She wants to make herself look better.
Yeah, just like Kitty did. And then that's when, the whole tussle happens outside.
Dahlia looks out the window and sees that Tex lost his fight, and she kind of does a weird scream.
But nothing comes out.
Nothing comes out when she screams, and then she's like frowning, but then just smiles and is like, "Guess I'm gonna kill Adelaide now."
Yeah, and then Zora comes in trying to hit Dahlia, and Dahlia sees her in the reflection, obviously, and she stops her, and then she's like got her pinned down on the bed, and she's about to stab her with the scissors, and then old fucking Jason comes in with with this big like stone. It's supposed to be like
It's a crystal.
It's got like crystals in it, right? And he just hits
A
Dahlia.
geode. That's what it is.
Yes, there we go. And he hits Dahlia over the head with it. And Dahlia
He hits her with the base of
it, yeah.
Like I would have hit her with the stone.
But she dies, and then they're able to get to free Adelaide, but they're not able to undo her handcuffs so much as they are to just, I guess, free her from the bedpost.
Yeah.
And then they go downstairs and they regroup with Gabe, and then they're all talking with each other, and they realize that if Josh and Kitty had doppelgangers, then they're probably doppelgangers all over the place. Also, they realize this because the police lines are constantly on like a busy tone. So they turn on the news, and they're just like talking about how there's all these stabbings and stuff, and they show like news footage of all these doppelgangers in red jumpsuits holding hands, tethered together, and they realize that this is like of apocalyptic proportions, basically. So this reminds me, personally, of John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness, where it starts out as a simple premise, but if that premise escapes from its simple, if the danger of those movies escapes from its isolated location, it's an apocalypse, basically. The Thing, if that alien had gotten to, the United States, it's over. In Prince of Darkness, if fucking Satan was able to escape, it's over. And I haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness yet, but I can only imagine. But that's what it reminds me of, it reminds me of that, and obviously Jordan Peele is heavily influenced by John Carpenter, so that makes sense. Anyway, they realize all this, and they're like, we got to figure out a way to get out of here. Why don't we go to Mexico? Why don't we do this or that? Take the coast.
And, it's scenes like this that kind of unnecessarily broke the tension for me.
Like, how do you mean?
Like, because they just tried to, like I said in the beginning, they just tried to be like overly comedic at times, and it's like just keep going. You ruin the tension of the moment.
Yeah, like
you can have a few jokes here and there, fine. Just, but keep it going. Don't stop there for over 3 minutes with this shit.
Yeah, that is something that I can understand.
I don't have a problem with comedy and horror, but pick a spot to stay in.
Yeah, because it's not. I don't think it's like a horror comedy where the comedy kind of like is in service of the horror and vice versa. It's more like, oh, let's just put some jokes in here now. But I think the purpose of it is more to give the audience a breather. I think is what he was trying to do with it. But it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't work for everybody, obviously.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, they end up leaving. This is where they leave and they go back to the beach, right?
Well, they take Josh's car and they're all looking for the keys first. And
That's
Adelaide's
right.
like, I'm going to go back and get the keys. And then she finds that one of the twin sisters wasn't dead. And so she fights her off, kills her. And Jason watches that and just looks all weird. Because Adelaide starts making weird faces as she's doing all the more violent things.
Yeah.
Which is giving away more and more.
Yeah, foreshadowing more and more at the twist.
And they get back to the car, and we have another stupid, jokey scene where Zora's like, "Oh well, I have the highest kill count," and then stupid Gabe's like, "No, that's 1-1-1." And it's like, "Oh well, I killed both the twins." Like, "No, you didn't. I just killed the other twins." So
see, but I like that scene because I feel like that's a realistic argument that a family would have.
Yeah.
Like I like that scene a lot. Because, like, that's the thing is, yeah, the comedy feels out of place, but the reason I think it feels so out of place is because it feels like shit that a real fucking family like that would say, and families like that can be insufferable. And I think that's why it doesn't land for us the way that it should. Also because we're relatively angsty, and when I know when my family members make jokes like that, I get a little frustrated. I'm not going to lie. I get a little like, Mom, come on. Please stop. And then Mom's just like, ha ha ha, whatever. I'm going to keep joking because that's my mom. I love her, though. I love you, Mom. You're the best. Anyway, so, yeah, but I do like that scene because that feels realistic to me. But anyway, Umbra is in the line of sight of the car.
Every time you say Umbra's name, I just think that's the fucking Pokemon.
Umbreon?
Yeah.
More like, I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Anyway, so...
What?
Nothing. Anyway, so Umbra's in the line of sight, and Zora just like, Gabe's like, you just gotta back up, just back up, and Zora's like, buckle up, and then she fucking like
puts it in drive and floors it.
Gotta go fast, and then Sonic the Hedgehog.
Then we get, I guess, a rip-off Jeepers Creepers scene.
Sure, yeah. Explain to me how it's a rip-off of Jeepers Creepers.
Because they do the exact same thing in Jeepers Creepers.
With, like, him try to come through the ceiling and stuff?
No. Because at one point, the brother and sister, Trish and Derry, they get in the car, and he's like, just back away, just get away. It's like...
Oh.
And he's like, no, we're not going to run from it. So Trisha just floors it and tries to run him over. But Creeper jumps over the car and does his little Matrix bullshit.
Classic.
And she just backs up and runs him over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen those. That might be an homage to it, though, probably. But anyway, she's on the sunroof breaking through with her scissors. Some very strong scissors, by the way, to break through glass. And then she comes back to the front, and Zora basically just speeds up a bunch and then comes to a very abrupt stop, and that sends Umbra flying. She gets all fucking twisted in a tree, and Adelaide runs out of the car to go see what happened. And that's where she finds her, and she just sits there and watches her die. And then she gets back in the car, and then they go back to the beach. Correct?
Well, there's another giveaway too that she's trying to comfort the dying doppelganger.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, she's like,
you're just making it obvious now, dude.
She's like, ooh, look at you. I'm a little doppelgangy, And I don't know what I just said, but anyway. So then that's when they go back to the beach. And they see all these dead bodies and shit, looking like some birdemic shit went on. People dead in their cars, and everything.
I just thought of a stupid Insane Clown Posse song called "Dead Body Man."
How does it go, Justin?
I used to have the entire song memorized, and I don't like that I used to have it memorized.
The little known fact: Justin's a juggalo. Obviously,
No, Josh is the true juggalo.
he wears face paint every Halloween, and he'll come at me rapping lyrics to the great what is it called? Palenko? I don't know. I don't know anything about ICP.
I don't know. The only thing Juggalo related I see on Facebook now is just that stupid idiot who jumps off of stuff onto like microwaves and shit.
Oh my god.
Superhuman TV show.
I do think it's funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really know anything about ICP. But yeah,
I just remember one line from the song. Just like dead bodies all over the street. 55, 65 bodies at least.
All right, that's a lot more than one line, Justin. Okay, I'll let you have it though. So yeah, they see all these dead bodies, and they come across their car in the parking lot on fire. And then I'm yawning, but then they hear something from under the car. Because little Pluto and his weird fucking creepy ass self had been stowing away under the car, and he crawls out, and I guess he cut the gas line because he leaves a trail, and he's snapping his fingers over and over again, which is a callback to earlier in the movie when Adelaide is they're listening to I Got Five on it on the radio, and Adelaide is telling Jason, "Come on, get in the rhythm, snap your fingers to the rhythm," and she's off beat, which I think is funny.
Mm-hmm.
But which is another clue as to who she really is. And then so little doppelganger, Jason is doing that, and he looks over and lifts his mask up and smiles at Jason. He puts it back on, and Jason's like, "Oh shit, it's a trap." So then he steps out of his car. And he starts, walking backwards, and Pluto walks into the fire and burns to death. And Jason gets kidnapped by Red, because Red was willing to sacrifice her own son. Well, I guess, yeah, Red's willing to sacrifice her own son to get to what she needs, which is a final confrontation, which is what she gets, because after this, Adelaide goes back into the Hall of Mirrors, while Gabe and Zora look for medical supplies and stuff, and another mode of transport because the car is bonked.
And a stupid line is like they find an ambulance. He's like, "Oh, they gotta have bandages in there." He's like, "No shit,
Yeah,
you fucking idiot."
but that's like reasonable, Justin. Why are you so upset?
Because it's obvious. You don't need to say that like you're questioning they might not. Like,
Are you sure you've been sleeping okay? I feel like you're extra angry today.
no, I'm not sleeping okay.
I feel like you're a little on edge. I don't know why that made me laugh. But anyway, now it's like called, like it's some like wizard. So before it was the Shaman's Quest, which was a Native American thing.
Didn't it say Vision Quest?
It was, but it changed when in the present day, which is a reference to how
It was Vision Quest, and it said like Wizard's Wonder.
yeah, Wizard. So it went from Vision's Quest to Wizard's Wonder because around the 90s and early 2000s they were like, hey, maybe we shouldn't just like put Native Americans everywhere because of what we did to them. So that's what happened, and that's what that was supposed to be an allusion to. But Adelaide goes in there, and she's walking through the mirrors, and that same animatronic owl comes out, and she fucking just kills it. She just whacks it with the fucking fire poker. R.I.P. to that owl. He was a real one. He lived a full life of scaring little children. But Adelaide makes her descent into hell, basically. And I really like all these shots, too, as she's going down. And I think it's really neat how she's going back, basically. And she goes down the escalators and into these tunnels. And she gets into this hallway with a bunch of rooms where there's a bunch of rabbits just out. Which is symbolic of the fact that all the tethered are now free up on the surface. And because they're all free, all the rabbits are free now. And all these rabbits are living their best lives, just hanging out.
Just like it's the music video to Miss Murder by AFI.
All right, buddy. Anyway, so then they get into she walks into a room where Red is standing in front of a chalkboard, and she's got little paper cutouts of people. And on the chalkboard, she also has like, you know,
Just
a
a drawing.
bunch of stick figures holding hands. And this is when we get a cool split. Split. I think it's a split. I can't remember the official term, but it's a split shot where both subjects are in focus, and Red's face is in the foreground and Adelaide's in the background, and she's talking about how, like, you know, that they were different, and that the tethered were created by them. Or this is what she gathered, because she doesn't know for sure, but she can only assume that the tethered were created by them, so that way they could control the people on the surface, you know, like puppets. And she said, but then that failed, and the tethered were left here to do nothing, and they go crazy because all they have, because there's only one soul shared between these two bodies, so the people underground are kind of like, you know, suffering and you know, forced to mimic basically everything that they do on the surface, and against their will and all that shit. And now I'm yawning again. Woo! We need to get a yawn counter for me because I keep yawning. But yeah. And then she's explaining, but we were different, you know. And she recounts the day that she saw her, and she's like, you know, I didn't stop thinking about you since that day, and you know, I realized, and then she references a dance that they do, and the ballet dance. It's a ballet dance, and it's one that's made for a duet. And there was a deleted scene, where Adelaide mentions that ballet dance to whatchamacallit, to Kitty. And she mentions how it's supposed to be a duet dance, but she did it by herself. And Kitty's like, "Oh, good for you." But it wasn't really by herself because her tether was doing it underground with her. And she said that, like, that's when she realized, Red is saying that's when she realized that we were, you know, different. And she basically became this messiah-like figure to the tethered, and she planned this whole thing out to where they could take their place, you know, above ground, you know. And this leads to a fight between the two of them after she explains all of this. And you know, Red's getting some shots into Adelaide, and she's pretty resilient. And I really like this scene too, because you have the shots of them fighting interwoven with the shots of them dancing when they were kids to the song. And I really like that shit. I think it's really fucking cool. I love shit like that. And so they're fighting, and they go into this room with a bunch of bunk beds and lockers. And Red tries to get the jump on Adelaide, and Adelaide turns around and stabs her with the fire poker across the chest. And as Red's dying, she starts whistling, and then Adelaide fucking takes the handcuff chain and wraps it around this pole, this bedpost that she's got Red leaning on, and she just chokes her out and breaks her neck. And then she starts screaming and, you know, making the faces and noises that are like the tethered.
Yep.
And then Jason is in the locker in the room, and she finds him, and she's all happy. And then they get back to the surface, and they go away in the ambulance, and Adelaide starts zoning out while she's driving, and she has like this flashback, this final flashback, where it's revealed that when Adelaide was a child and she went into that hall of mirrors, she was choked by Red, the real Red, and they swapped places. So the tethered version of Adelaide went up to the surface and lived her full life, and the real Adelaide just had to grow up underground miserable. And this is also alluded to in that scene where it's that family therapy session where Adelaide's parents are talking to that, you know, counselor, And she's like, why isn't she talking anymore? She can't talk because she doesn't know English. And she's like, why isn't she talking anymore? I just want my baby back, you know? And you have that whole scene. And then Adelaide looks over, or I guess, you know, the tethered Adelaide looks over at Jason, and Jason's kind of looking at her like he knows. And she just kind of smiles at him and then just keeps driving. And then we get this nice camera shot of the landscape in America, and there's a bunch of fucking tethered just holding hands across the country as news helicopters look on, and then the movie ends. And that's us. That is us. Now, as I mentioned before, it's not as overtly political as Get Out. It's more about it's not about racism, it's about classism, which is, you know, the lower class and the upper class, you know, and how we use the lower class and kind of make them do all the grunt work, like the jobs that me and Justin work in real life. And so that way all the rich people can live comfortably. And this is like them, you know, uprising and making a statement, which is what Red mentions when she says, I wanted to make a statement. She's like, it wasn't enough to just kill you. I wanted to prove a point. And that was to do the Hands Across America thing, which is another allusion, obviously, to the fact that, you know, she's the real Adelaide, because she remembers that from when she's a child. The fact that they're only wearing one glove like Michael Jackson, you know, all that stuff is an allusion to stuff that the real Adelaide would know.
They made a Thriller.
Yes.
We...
And the movie even ends just like the music video for Thriller, where at the end of the music video, Michael looks back at the camera and he's a werewolf. He's got the werewolf eyes. And just like in this, you have the real Adelaide dead and the tethered Adelaide winning, you know? And yeah, I think it's pretty great. I like, I don't think I liked it as much as the first time I saw it, but I still dig it quite a bit. I like Tim Heidecker a lot in this. I especially like there's a part where he's looking for Gabe, and he's like on the boat, and he's like just being like he's doing like this slapstick shit where he's like, where is he? And he's just making all these like weird noises, and I just love it. I don't know why. That cracks me up every time. But that is us. That is the movie, and I think it's pretty all right. I think it's good. So yeah, anything else that you have to say, Justin, about the film? Any of your favorite parts? Any other stuff that you want to air out?
I mean, like I said in the beginning, its premise is fine. I just don't care for the execution. It was going good until... I mean, I get it. Everyone has the doppelganger thing, but it just didn't have the same impact as just the single family having it and just, you know, something being up with them. But I guess that would have made for a more complicated story if they went that route. Maybe. I don't know. But the story seemed kind of complicated anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people feel like it falls apart.
There's just too much going on all at once.
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people don't like about it. They think it all kind of falls apart at the end. And
not even the end, just the like halfway through it starts getting just jumbled with shit.
Yeah.
And then again, the little overly done comedy bits that aren't even remotely funny, aside from a few little ones. At least in my opinion. That's just mine. Overall though, it was a good watch. It was enjoyable. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Maybe not for a while, at least, until I'd forget parts of it.
Yeah.
Or just like with High Tension, just show it to somebody who hasn't seen it. But,
yeah. But I felt like, I think I mentioned before we started recording that I felt that the twist for this one was executed the way that it should have been executed in High Tension, because I feel like people would have liked High Tension more if it had been an end of the movie stinger, as opposed to the last, 5 to 10 minutes of it.
Yeah, but they threw in too many subtle hints.
With us, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Well, I mean, that's how they got to give you something to focus on when you rewatch, I think, is why they do that. Because, I mean, it's like with the others, when you rewatch that, there's a lot of hints at the reality of the situation. And the Prestige, same way. There's a lot of hints, and then you're like, oh, shit, that's cool. And I think that's, the idea behind that. It does definitely give it away, though, if you're vigilant enough and you pay attention enough. And then there's people like Kale who had it spoiled by the trailer. R.I.P. to that. Because that's annoying. That's a trend that I wish would fucking die. I hate it. Just like in Quarantine, they show the ending of the fucking movie in the trailer, like her getting dragged away. That's the end of the movie. Like what? Like what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that, man? And they did the same thing with this, where it's the shot of her choking herself. That's in the trailer, and I was like, well, that's a fucking dead giveaway. Like, her voice is hoarse. Gee, I wonder why.
Because
You
she's
know?
a horse, of course.
Yes, good one. I'll give you. I'm gonna give you 3 nickels to never say that again.
Hey, I'm just doing my thing, cuz.
I'm gonna kill you. Anyway, I hate it. I hate that so much. But yeah, but like, there's nothing. There's no what worked for you with this one? Because that's what I was. Because I was
The tense moments.
Okay.
They actually felt tense. And like you didn't know who was gonna get got when, or if they were gonna get got at all. Like that I can appreciate because it was done well.
Yes.
But just every other little mystery thing and all the weird, overly done twists and turns and shit, it was just like less is more.
Yeah, that's
Less
how I
would have been
feel.
more for this movie.
Yeah, because that's like, I think that's the biggest flaw, is that it does kind of get lost in itself a little bit.
Yeah.
Now the ultimate question is, which one do you think is better, this or Get Out?
Get Out.
Get Out? Yeah, that's what everybody says. I mean, I'm inclined to agree too, but I also just like,
It's like I said to you earlier, I just think the premise of Get Out worked better because it was simpler.
it was because it was focused on one group of people.
Yeah.
It was just that one family that was doing this thing, and all their other rich
It's like when
friends.
he was writing this one, he kept coming up with more ideas as he wrote it and forgot to like blend it with everything else, kind of. I don't know.
And I think that's the pressure of what he was saying before, where he said, you have all those eyes on you and you feel that need to one up yourself. And
Yeah.
I think that kind of bit him in the ass a little bit, because there's a lot that he sets up, but then in the end it really only comes down to these 2 characters, which is Red and Adelaide, when you have all this other shit going on. And in the end they both succeed in what they wanted. The tethered Adelaide gets to live another day. She kills, and she's the only one left. And then Red gets what she wanted, which is the statement being made. She went out like the Messiah and the martyr that she viewed herself as. So, again, there are these big themes, but it still boils down to just these 2 people. And it probably, again, I think too that it would have worked a lot better if it just focused on those characters. And that's what I liked about Nope, is that Nope really just focuses on a handful of characters working towards this one thing. But Nope doesn't even really feel like a horror movie to me. I know you haven't seen it yet, but it doesn't feel like a horror movie to me so much as it feels like something like, I guess it's a horror movie in the same way that like Jaws is, where it's not an overtly like horrifying movie, but it's more of a spectacle, and there's elements that are definitely uncomfortable, but it's not like, but again, even with Nope, there are a lot of different themes going on that relate to them, and they all relate to each other, but I feel like Nope is a little more cohesive in what it's trying to do and what it's trying to say. I can't wait to cover that one though, whenever we fucking get to it. It could be fucking in 2 months or 2 years, judging by the one-off list that I got.
Yeah.
It could be a while from now, but yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree that the Get Out's a little better. I think it works better as a horror movie, just because for horror specifically, like you said, simple is better. There's a lot of movies, like I'd be a hypocrite if I said that, if I didn't acknowledge the flaws with this, because there are other movies that I don't like because I feel like they aren't simple enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they show too much when they don't have to. Like Joker's a good example of this, where that movie's very 50-50 for me because I guess spoilers for Joker, whatever, but that movie's very 50-50 for me because there's so many parts of that thing that I like. The score, Joaquin Phoenix's performance is fantastic. And the general feel of the movie, the aesthetic of it, I love all that shit. But then there's all this other shit that just fucking bogs it down. There's the inclusion of Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne, which I absolutely fucking hate. I don't care about Bruce Wayne and Thomas Wayne, especially when Bruce Wayne's a little shit kid and Thomas Wayne's this rich asshole. Whatever. There's this whole like B plot where Arthur thinks that he's Thomas's son, and that's kind of dumb in itself. But then, Bruce is there, and you have like a scene where he goes to Wayne Manor, and he like talks to Bruce for a little bit, because he's viewing Bruce like his brother or whatever, because, I don't know, it's dumb. And then Alfred comes and takes him away. And then, the reason that Arthur thinks that Thomas is his dad is because his mom's fucking crazy. And, she thought that she was in a relationship with Thomas Wayne and all this other shit. So then Arthur kills his mom. And the last, like, chunk of the movie was really good up to a certain point for me. It was very good. You have him going crazy. He goes on a talk show. He kills Robert De Niro at the talk show because he's, trying to prove a point or whatever. He's being very like, oh, I'm fucking crazy, woohoo, this is what happens when you fucking treat people like this. And I'm like, fair, whatever, yeah. It's like Taxi Driver kind of a little bit. Yeah, okay, cool. And then he kills Robert De Niro or whatever. And then he's being taken away to prison, but like his actions have incited like a riot in Gotham to take down the upper class. Cool. This is when it stops working for me, because then it does too much. Like there's this part where Thomas, Martha, and Bruce are walking out of the theater and they go down an alley. I know what's going to happen when they go down that alley. All you have to do is show me that one of these fucking guys in the clown mask sees them going down the alley. I don't have to watch Martha and Thomas die for the umptillionth fucking time because I know what's going to happen. But they decided to make you watch Martha and Thomas die again, Pearl's getting ripped off, and all that shit that you've seen a million times in a million different Batman comics, and it bugs the hell out of me because I'm like, why couldn't you just... I know what's going to happen. You can do less is more. And then the movie ends with... I thought the movie ends with the score ramping up, and Joker does this fucking smile with blood across his face, and the movie ends. And I'm like, oh, fucking perfect. And then you hear him laughing, and I'm like, oh no. And then it cuts to him in an asylum. And then it alludes to the idea that maybe it was all in his head because he's thinking about the fact that Bruce is an orphan now and all this other shit. And I'm assuming he's like talking to some therapist. He kills the therapist, I'm assuming, because he's got bloody footprints, and he's just walking around in the asylum wreaking havoc to Ain't That a Kick in the Head by Frank Sinatra. And I'm like, not only does that one automatically fucking make me not care about the events in the movie a little bit, it didn't like ruin it, but it made me not care as much, because when you call into question the validity of it, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's fine, I guess. But then, it also sets up a sequel, which we're getting now. And I don't like that either, because that's why I would have rather it had just ended where it ended. It's not so much the fact that, like, it's this idea where, oh, it was all in his head. It's not so much that, so much as it is, okay, cool, now we have room for a sequel, which this movie doesn't need, and now it's going to get it. But the sequel sounds fucking bonkers, which, I don't know, maybe it'll be at least cool.
Isn't Lady Gaga supposed to be Harley Quinn?
Yeah, she's going to be Harley Quinn, and there's going to be a bunch of other people in it. It's going to be a musical. It's weird. It's going to be weird. I don't know, man. It's going to be something.
Hard pass.
But I would have much rather it just ended when he's wiping the blood on his face and he's reveling in the anarchy that he created. He finally has the identity and the purpose that he's always wanted in life. End it there. That's all I fucking needed. And then they do that to leave room for a sequel. And Todd Phillips was like, well, that's not what my intention was. Sure, buddy. Sure. I believe you, I don't know. it just bugs me also just because, it's a Batman property and I like Batman a lot and I like all that stuff. And,
No.
So, I that's why I'd be a hypocrite if I wasn't like, less is more. But then at the same time I like stuff like High Tension where, it's all in the woman's head at the end of the movie. But like, I don't know, for me it works better in that
It works
because
better in that because then it would from what you described with Joker, that just makes it seem like the entirety of Batman is just in this
it
one
is in
crazy
his
dude's head.
It's an interpretation of the events in his head or whatever. But like he's not even there to witness like Bruce Wayne getting orphaned. So
he imagined it.
There's also I don't know. It's just
It's dumb.
I think it's because of the weight that it's a fucking Batman property. That's why it bugs me so much. But again, it's very 50-50 for me because I like a lot of things about it. But man, it's just that shit. That shit just really bugs me for some reason. But that was another certified sidetrack segment. We forgot to announce that.
Yo.
But yeah, less is more, and definitely that comes into play for us. I do think in rewatching it, and especially after seeing Nope, I do think this is probably the weakest of the three movies he's made. That doesn't mean it's bad. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, but it definitely doesn't fit as hard as Get Out or Nope. But that's just me, That's just me, baby. I don't think it's like as bad as everybody was like saying. I know I was reading reviews on IMDb and one guy was like, fucking overhyped garbage. I'm like, and who overhyped it? You hyped it up for yourself, bro. Like, that's on you. Like, you can't get mad at the movie for that. You hyped it up yourself. It's just like, I don't like Inception because my uncle or my cousin hyped it up for me. Like, all right, that's on me, I guess, but like, I don't like it. Like, nothing I can do about it. But, it's whatever. I think it's fun. I think it's good. I like the comedy works for me. I can understand why it wouldn't work for some people. And there are some jokes that make me cringe a little bit. But it's like the MCU, there's some jokes that make me cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
And that take me out of it.
If Tony Stark's not delivering the joke, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, like in Eternals, how they would have these serious moments that were undercut by a stupid joke. And I'd be like, come on, man. Why are you doing this?
I had to watch Eternals again because I fell asleep through part of it.
That's fair, dude. It's like 3 hours long and it's very, yeah.
Like I made it to the part where they start describing the entire story in the forest, and I'm like, sleep time.
Yeah, I'm checking out, baby. But no, I think the thing that carries this movie the most is Lupita Nyong'o.
The acting was great. I can give it that.
Her acting.
Well, hers was at least.
Her acting is incredible. Yes, like she is very fucking good in this movie. And I think that's what really carries it for me is that. Yeah. Like with High Tension, a lot of what carries High Tension for me is Cécile de France and her performance. But yeah, it's the same thing here where sometimes the acting can make a movie for me, and I think that's what happens here. But yeah, it's a fun time. If you haven't seen it, I guess check it out if you want. I don't know. I kind of spoiled it for you. I mean, that's what we do on this podcast. We spoil it and talk about whatever else we want. Obviously, I just went on like a 5-minute tirade about fucking Joker, but
it's what we do.
It's what we do. And if you check it out, I guess, and I think that's all we have to say about us, probably.
We give it our Goblin recommendation.
Honestly, yeah, I'd give it a recommendation. I'd recommend it to a friend or family member that is intrigued by horror films, probably.
Yep.
But yeah, and that's us. What are we doing next week, Justin?
I don't remember.
Oh my God, we're doing the crazies. We're doing the original and the remake in the same episode.
Yay!
You're gonna get a double stuffed episode. I don't think we're gonna go over both movies separately. And by that I mean when we go over the plot. I mean I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of overlap there. So we'll probably just, we'll probably talk about the general plot of both of them and then how they differ, I guess, is what we'll do for that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to that.
It'll be a challenge.
I'm going to have to do a lot of research for this one. Can't wait, because I'm going to have to... Oh, man, it is going to be a lot of research. I got to watch 2 fucking movies.
Oh!
But I'm excited.
We got this. And then what happens after? This is our last one off before we're back to our series.
And then we're going to go back to Evil Dead. And I wish we had, I think we have enough fans. Hopefully we'll have enough fans by the end of Evil Dead to do like a little poll to ask like what the next franchise should be.
Yes.
That we do.
Get involved.
Get involved. We'll put a poll up, I don't know, on the Facebook page or
Comment
some
on
shit.
YouTube. Go to the Facebook.
Comment
leave
on
comments.
YouTube.
You can send messages to it.
Because here's what I'm thinking, all right? The movie, I don't want to spend that much money anymore because I've been spending money on all these fucking movies. I want to spend money. I want to just do movies that I already have. I have all of Scream. I have most of Child's Play. Evil Dead we're doing. I think that's it. I think that's it, actually. I don't know. I think that's all I got. I have The Thing.
Well, Jesus Christ, I can buy some of the movies. I don't care.
That is true. You can. I forget you have money sometimes. I'm going to be honest because I've kind of just been trucking along.
That, and remember, we don't have to have a physical copy of the movie all the time.
That is true. The only reason, because I bought digitally because Amazon had it for $15 for as long as I can fucking remember. And then as soon as I need to buy it for the podcast, it's like, sold out. Don't know when it's coming back. And I'm like, all right, well, it's $15 on iTunes. So fuck it. I'll get it there. And I did. And it looked all right. It looked pretty good. I don't really like streaming movies that much. I also don't like buying movies digitally because you never know when it's just going to disappear. That's going on with fucking Warner Brothers right now.
That means technically we could do an actual episode of Halloween Ends because I have a Peacock account.
Oh yeah, but I want to wait till the Blu-ray so I can watch all the special features.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, because I like doing that. And luckily, the iTunes version of Us came with all the special features. That's the only reason I was okay with buying it. Otherwise, I was about to fucking make a trek across the country to grab a fucking Blu-ray copy so I could watch it. But yeah. Fuck! I have all of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. But if we do those,
we already got a plan for them.
We got a big plan for that since there's a little bit of overlap there. But I guess I guess we could talk about what franchises we'd want to do because Wrong Turn's also there. There's also Hatchet.
I have all the Wrong Turns. I own all the Hatchets digitally.
Okay, well there we go. And then there's a bunch. There's fucking I don't want to buy Leprechaun, but there's Leprechaun. There's a bunch. I got all the fucking Alien movies too. You have all the Predators.
I have all the Aliens and Predators.
So I mean, like we got options, is what I'm saying. But we'll probably narrow it down to like 3 or 4. And I don't know if we got enough people involved. We'll do a poll.
Tell us, people.
Or just tell us whatever. We're gonna do Evil Dead though.
Give us series. Give us one-offs. It doesn't matter. We'll add it to the list.
And also keep in mind that for franchises going forward, in between each movie, we're gonna do a one-off so we don't get fucking bored of doing the same franchise.
Not bored because we love these movies, just worn out.
Yeah, worn out. That's a better way to say it.
Because was
me.
Halloween a stretch?
You listen to this podcast. I don't know words sometimes. But yeah, Halloween was fun, but man, you get tired of seeing Michael's face sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the movies that aren't that great.
Resurrection, H2O.
I think 6 is probably the worst one.
I'm sorry to my friend who likes it.
Like I think when I ranked it on because I ranked it on Letterboxd because Kale uses Letterboxd and I was like, what is that? And then that was a mistake because now I use it. But I have my Halloween ranked list. You want to hear what my ranking is, Justin?
Go.
Halloween.
Number 1.
John Carpenter's Halloween from order of number 1 to the last. Okay? You're going to get mad at me. I can already feel it. John Carpenter's Halloween. Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills. Rob Zombie's Halloween. Halloween 4. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
What?
Halloween 3. The original Halloween 2. H2O. 5. Resurrection, and 6.
Fuck.
I knew it.
Just put 5 above 3 and I'm fine.
Listen, I can't do that. I wouldn't even. I almost didn't put 3 on the list if I'm being honest because it doesn't feel like a fucking Halloween movie, but we included it on our episodes, so why not? And then I got my Scream movies already pre-ranked because I watched that franchise earlier this year, so I'll go over that whenever we do Scream.
Well, anyways, let's not drag this out anymore.
Listen, man, if there's anything I like to do, it's drag stuff out.
Well, let's not.
Why do you think I have a podcast? I talk enough to fill
Yeah.
fucking like 2 hours.
Oh,
So.
but hey, I like to give a little shout out to a buddy I work with, Nathaniel, because he listened to the podcast and gave it to his friends to listen to, and they all seem to enjoy it. So thanks for that. He gave us some fans.
Yeah, we love it.
Preach.
We love to see it. We love it. So hopefully we continue to grow, and we couldn't do it without any of y'all. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Our listeners, our people, follow Justin's Facebook page for Gore Goblins. I think it's just Gore Goblins.
Yep.
Follow me on Twitter at Mustachio Cage. And my name on there is Desi Ramirez because that's what Mom should have named me.
Boom.
So, that's where we're at. Thanks for listening. Next week is the Crazies. Have a great gory week.
Yep.
And stay green. I think I fucked that up, but I don't care. All right, say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Whoa.